I recently spent about an hour and a half in a back room of this museum looking at an apron made and used by the Ainu people of northern Japan. When you see it up close, you realize that it has dimension and texture and history. There's a ragged area kind of in the middle, and it was turned over. When I looked at the back, I could see someone had cut a patch from the belt and sewed it on. The dark blue pattern is faded and wrinkled just the way jeans are. This is an ordinary garment, but at the same time, it was decorated with the beyond in mind. What looked square at first, you realize, is actually tapers to points in the corner. It's as if someone took that geometric pattern and pinched it and drawn it out. Those points are positioned at vulnerable parts of the pattern to defend against the evil gods. Over the top of that dark blue, there's a light blue cord, and that light blue cord is stitched over and over in these very distinctive shapes. Like a child looking at clouds, I said, well, that looked like a bell or a heart or a bird or parentheses, a hat, a vase, or even a thought balloon. Of course, none of these particular shapes were occurring to the original artist, and I don't think the shapes were supposed to be like anything at all. Though these metaphors have meaning for me, they kind of glance off an ordinary life that is very different from ours. That said, part of the value of what we add to something we see is our own experiences, our own feelings, our own imagination. I found some kind of obvious but oblique connections to my own life. For one thing, I'm an at-home dad, so the idea of an apron is very suggestive. I was also interested in this because my mom is Japanese and because I have a daughter with Down syndrome. Down syndrome was originally named in terms of race. John Langdon Down, the doctor who first named it for Western medicine, thought that the people who had it were, in a strange way, Asian. Their eyes looked Asian to him, and yet their parents were white. And so he called them Mongolian idiots. In an interesting way, the Ainu were seen as the same way. Anthropologists would debate whether they were Mongoloid or Caucasoid. And in fact, when Japanese anthropologists began to study the Ainu, it was partly in order to determine what was truly Japanese. Thinking of all this stuff and looking back at the apron, it occurred to me that what that faint blue cord reminded me of was DNA. The more we know about DNA, the more we know that these boxes that we like to read the world by are dynamic. They change from day to day, from situation to situation. What defines us is an immensely complex equation.